Good morning, everyone. It's 9:15, and this is the Senate Education Committee. Will you please rise? And Senator Abbas will join us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. So we're opening the hearing on House Bill 1090. Can't see it here. Put my glasses on. 1093. And Senator Abbott.
Morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee. I'm here to introduce HB 1093. I spoke with the prime sponsor, and who I know very well. And this is a bill that I would support, and that's why I offered to introduce it for. She had a conflict in schedule. Basically, what it does, just in a nutshell, public charter schools, which are public schools, fall outside the law on some of the benefits that the school districts get, particularly when it comes to land use and local property taxes. It seems to be some inconsistencies depending on what district you're in, but this would, rather than let that work its way out through litigation, I think clarifying legislation or improving legislation would be a better route to go. There's someone I know very well from a chartered school here today that will speak better on the subject.
Thank you. Any questions?
No, you did a nice job.
Thank you very much. Jessica? Welcome.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. My name is Jessica Waxman, and I'm the Dean of Operations and one of the founders at the Birches Academy Charter School in Salem. We'll be celebrating our 15th school year this coming September. This bill, I worked with Representative Donnelly, and so I appreciate her taking the time to put this forward. About 2 years, a little under 2 years ago, the Birches was able to purchase the building that they had been renting for the last 12 years. And when we did so, we went to the town to do some significant renovations and realized that there were some inconsistencies in how they were interpreting charter schools being public schools. And when we started to dive deeper and reach out to other charter schools within the state, we found that there is every town and municipality interprets charter schools and their public school definition differently. So while Salem recognized that we were a public school, they did not recognize that we would be exempt from certain land grant issues, governmental use issues. Whereas Nashua didn't even recognize the charter schools as a public school. And so they had to go through significant changes when they were doing some renovations to their building, a couple of schools in Nashua. And so, we, in reaching out to both the town of Salem's attorneys, our attorneys, the RSA 674-54 seemed to be the right place to make the note that adding chartered public schools as a line item in there to help solidify what's already, was already in charter school law, that we are public schools and afforded all the rights and privileges of public schools, and kind of clean up some of the language so that when we go forward in the future and other schools throughout the state are able to do that, that we can point to that piece of the law to help keep that clear. And I want to make it clear that this isn't about code that had come up in the House side. We have to go through a rigorous process through both the state Board of Education's facility approval process. We have to go through the state fire marshal's process, and we also have to go through all local code. So your plumbing, heating, fire safety, like that's not what this is about. This is about permitting fees, zoning areas, property taxes, and so I just wanted to make sure that that was clear. I also wanted to note that there was a Department of Education training this morning for charter school leaders. So I'm here. That's why others are not here to speak on behalf of the bill, because they all had to be at the Department of Ed for a training. So I'm here and then going over there for the remainder of the training. So I just wanted to make those comments, and I'm open to any questions that anyone has.
Any questions? Thank you very much.
Great, thank you.
Senator Prentice, did you have a question? No. Okay. Anybody else in the audience who likes to chime in on 1093? If not, this concludes the hearing on House Bill 1093. Let's see what time it is. Sure, we could do that.
I make a motion to go into executive session.
So moved. All those in favor of executive session?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, let's take a look at 1093.
I'll make a motion about to pass.
I'll second.
We have a motion ought to pass in a second. Any discussion? All those in favor of ought to pass?
Aye.
Aye.
That's 4-0. Anybody opposed to it? Seeing none? Putting it on consent?
Move for consent.
Second.
All those in favor of consent?
Aye.
Senator Prentice?
Yeah, yes.
Thank you.
I'm late, so,
She's trying to get caught up.
yeah. I'm just, have a minute.
Take it out.
We'll take it out. Senator Abbas will take it out.
Great. I move to come out of executive session.
Second.
All those in favor of coming out of executive session?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed to it? Seeing none, hearing none. Okay, we still have 25. 3 more minutes.
Moving right along today.
Hmm?
Moving right along today.
Yep.
Representative Paterno was running late, so she asked me to present her bill. She's not here. I think we have another minute.
Who's running late?
Katie Paterno?
Oh.
Representative Paterno.
This is 25. Hold on a minute.
Take them up, read them, always make it back in.
Okay. 9:25, and we'll open the hearing on House Bill 1155. And Representative Pernell is a little late, so we'll have Senator Sullivan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members of the committee, for the record, I am Senator Victoria Sullivan. I represent Senate District 18, which is Manchester Wards 5 through 9 in the town of Litchfield. And I am here to introduce House Bill 1155. This bill repeals the, my glasses are in my office, repeals the Education Advisory Council. That's all that it does. Thank you.
Thank you. Doris O'Hansi.
Is Red's?
No, no, yeah, no, you turned it off. It's on. There
Now
you
it's
go.
on. Red is on. Red means stop to me, but I'm sorry. Good morning, Chairman Ward and members of the committee. This bill gets rid of the HEAC, but also gets rid of rulemaking. There's two things this bill does. In 1990, the Home Education Advisory Council was created to discuss needed changes to the home education regulations and to hold the grievance council hearings to resolve disputes. I assisted a family that was summoned to court when their school district refused to acknowledge their notification, which at that time included curriculum materials. After satisfying the court, the family was required to attend a HEAC grievance council hearing. Again, the family had to prove their innocence of educational neglect and make sure their program was not placed on probation or terminated. Since 2012, the law no longer requires the HEAC to provide due process hearings to determine whether or not to terminate a parent's right to educate their child. Basically, there's no longer any need for the HEAC. The HEAC was designed to serve the Commissioner of Education and organized around homeschooling groups, not independent parents. The home education movement is predominantly comprised of independent parents who are capable of communicating directly with legislators when they feel their rights have been threatened. It's far more useful to listen to parents than a board selected by the commissioner. So the HEAC has served its purpose, is no longer needed, and can be safely eliminated. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? Senator Prentice?
Thank you. It's Doris, correct?
Yes.
Thank you for taking my question. I may have more than one. So you have pointed out that it not only repeals this council, but it repeals rulemaking.
Yes.
So is this all rulemaking related to homeschooling?
Correct.
Okay, so you say that this group no longer serves its purpose. Are you saying that there no longer is a relationship between the Department of Education and homeschooling in the state?
It was, thank you for your question. The council was created to help make rules, to communicate with the department who makes the rules for the community. But if we're getting rid of rulemaking and we're getting rid of the grievance council, because there's no more terminations and probations of homeschoolers, there's no longer any explicit need other than a socialization for the HEAC. It has accomplished its purpose. When we had that law that required all those stipulations, it was a due process, so you didn't go to the department due process or go to court. It was, give you a couple layers of due process to slow down the process. All of that's gone. We don't need the HEAC. Whatever is left, parents can directly contact legislators and request what's needed.
Follow up? Follow up. What about parents contacting the Department of Education that are involved in homeschooling? You say that relationship no longer, that's what I'm trying to get at. Is that relationship no longer needed?
There is no relationship. You may notify the department, you may notify a private school, you may notify your public school currently. But that's just a piece of paper, and then they respond with acknowledgement. There's no more review of the curriculum, send you to court because you didn't pass muster. So what we have now works, and there's no more new rulemaking. And if I was in a public school and I contacted the department, I don't have a counsel to help me. I just go and I do it. Parents are able to go and do it.
School board, all right.
Any other questions? Seeing none, thank you very much.
you.
Diane Nolan?
Good morning, members of the Education Committee. Thank you for this opportunity to speak. My name is Diane Nolan. I've home educated all our children in Wyndham. under RSA 193A for over 20 years. I've held positions on service teams of several home education organizations in southern New Hampshire. I'm presently a board member for the Catholics United for Home Education, CUHE, and I am a sitting member on the Home Education Advisory Council. CUHE has consistently held a seat on HEAC over its 30 years of existence, and our members can attest to its value and purpose. I'm forever grateful to the many HEAC members who served 193A families over the years. HEAC is beneficial in conveying trends and current issues that home educators are experiencing, while it serves as a way for home educators to get resolution to their issues. CUHE is in favor of retaining HEAC, as am I. We do not support the elimination of the only state-level support mechanism for 193A home educators while leaving rulemaking in place. Allowing home educators to work with the state on rulemaking was one of the prime reasons that HEAC was created. HB 1155 does not eliminate rulemaking. By voting ITL on HB 1155, we avoid this disconcerting situation.
Thank you. Any questions from committee members? Diane, did you check with the Department of Education on how they feel about this?
No, I did not.
Okay, so they have had no input into it.
Right.
Okay. Senator Prentice?
Thank you, Senator Ward, and thank you, Diane, for coming forward. So as a longtime home educator, you said you had a seat on this council,
Yes, I sit on that council right now.
sit on that council right now. So are you testifying about the continued value
Yes.
of that council and being concerned about breaking the relationship, say, away from, as I see it, the Department of Education, and like siloing it, with all the value, I'm a parent, I'm not dismissing that at all, but you see a place for it as a council, as being that, you see it a place for it as being a council and remaining in place, and you've actually worked on it and understand why it's important for families in New Hampshire that are homeschooling their children. Is that your position?
It is.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Anybody else who wants to add? Get Representative Pernell.
Good morning, members of the committee, and thank you, Senator Sullivan, for introducing the bill for me. For the record, I am Katie Peternell, represent Carroll District 6, the towns of Wolfboro and Tuftonboro. And originally, we had attempted, sorry, let me back up. The Education Committee last year put in a non-germane amendment in an attempt to repeal the Home Education Advisory Council. I had put in the underlying bill, the original bill was going to restructure the way the Home Education Advisory Council operates. However, as an appointee to the council, I have seen considerable ongoing dysfunction in the way the council works. And in addition to malfunction, they actually kind of abuse our taxpayer resources. The council has become very adversarial. I have tried to find members of the home education community to be individual members, and nobody wants to go down on a Friday afternoon every other month or every month to fight, which is basically what has happened on this council. And back in the day, when it was originally instituted, it did have a purpose. And that purpose was to assist the department with creating, and the Board of Education, with creating rules surrounding home education. We have very few rule changes now. It's all in statute. Most people understand the importance of home education in the community. Most of the issues can be addressed with technical advisories from the department. If there were rules that needed to be changed, members of the home education community could certainly come forward and request that those rules be changed. They can address their legislators if they think that the statute needs to be changed. So what has been happening on this council is that the meetings are contentious. The department now sends 2 staff members to attend these meetings to make sure that they stay under control. So my concern primarily is the abuse of taxpayer funds, the inability of this council to operate functionally, and that I don't really see much need for it anymore because there are so many homeschool advocates in the community. They will certainly reach out to legislators or the department. One organization in particular is the New Hampshire Homeschooling Coalition. They do not take a position on legislation. They have representatives all around the state, I believe 8 or 10, I can't remember exactly. I was one at one point, probably 20 some years ago. And they know how to reach out to the department if any issues arise. So with that, I conclude my testimony. Questions?
Senator Sullivan.
Thank you. Thank you for taking my question. I did not do your bill justice when I introduced this, so I'm glad you're here. I just had a couple questions. How many people currently sit on this council?
There are 6 members appointed from home education organizations. I believe 2 independent members can be appointed. I could be wrong. I think it's a total of 6 home educators. And then there's a member from the New Hampshire School Administrators Association, the Principals Association. There's supposed to be a member from the School Board Association, but they haven't had one in my time on the council.
Okay. Follow up?
Follow up.
Just for clarity, did you say that the Department of Education has to send 2 employees to these meetings?
According to the statute, they are not required to send anybody at all, but they send one member who oversees home education. They send 1 employee, and then there's always a second employee sitting in the audience overseeing.
Okay, thank you very much.
Senator Abbas.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you for taking my question. Just for clarification purposes, some of the prior testimony stated that this would repeal all the rulemaking. My read of it is a little different. Can you just clarify would there still be rules that apply to home ed? Would there still be a rulemaking process that?
No, the rulemaking is not repealed. What is repealed is the council itself and the requirement that the board submit any notice of proposed rulemaking or rule changes to the council.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Senator Prentice.
Thank you, Senator Ward, and thank you, Representative Patternell. So would you be able to provide an example of, say, the contentious, like an issue that has become contentious within this group? I'm trying to understand what has become contentious that is brought legislation like this forward. I mean, what is actually happening? Could you provide an example?
Yes, I have 2 examples, actually. Number 1 was each year, the council is required to submit a report to the Board of Education, an annual report. And it took 4 or 5 months for the council to agree on the report. The original report that was submitted to the council was extremely contentious. The chairman at that time did not seem to appreciate the recommendation that be toned down a little bit. So it took 4 or 5 months before no, I'm sorry, not quite that long, but over 3 months before the council could agree on an annual report to be submitted to the Board of Education. In that time, there were minutes that did not get approved because the council was spending so much time debating the annual report. So the council was meeting monthly instead of bi-monthly and taking a summer break only to approve the annual report. The minutes from June, it took until January to be approved. So there were minutes from, I believe, June, August, November. There were multiple months of minutes that did not get approved until January. And they were only approved after I sent a notice to the Department of Education, because I'm a legislative member, I'm not a voting member. So I don't have much authority in the meetings themselves. But I had to send a letter to the Department of Education saying that they needed to step in and get this council back on track.
Follow-up? Follow-up? Thank you for providing some clarification. When you, it's not really a follow-up to that question, but a second question, in fairness, Chair Ward. When you talk about abuse of taxpayer dollars, is your position that Department of Education staff members being there, not just one but two, is abusing taxpayer dollars?
Well,
I'm just trying to, you made that statement, so help me
it's
represent
taking
better.
time away from the Department of Education from their regular duties to attend this meeting. So these meetings last 2 hours. It's not like an hour. These are 2-hour-long meetings, and sometimes they run over. So yes, I do think it's an abuse of taxpayer funds to have not one but two employees of the department attending these meetings.
Okay, thank you.
Would you like to mention the appointments from a number of legislators that are appointed to this HEAC committee?
By name?
No,
Or just the number?
just the number.
Yes, there are, sorry, thank you, I forgot to mention that. There are 2 members of the House of Representatives and 1 member from the Senate.
And they have no authority to recommend anything.
No, they are non-voting members. All the other members are voting members.
Okay. Any other questions? Seeing none, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anybody else in the audience? Please come up.
Your microphone is not on.
Turn it on.
Sorry. Good morning. Thank you for letting me speak this morning. My name is Heather Barker. I am the NHSAA Student Services Director, and I have sat on the HEAC Council. This is my second term. I will agree with everything that Representative Peternell said in terms of the last 2 years being rather contentious on this council. That sort of came about as 2 members came onto the council. Other members left prior to the 2 members joining the council. My experience of that council was very peaceful. They had great relationships with the representatives and the senator that worked with them. We did do a lot of work around rulemaking and offering changes, getting support from the legislature. They participated in the democratic process as a council. We had a great relationship with the Department of Education. There has been some turnover in the person who's been responsible for that council, so that's part of the story, obviously. But what I would say is, home education is one of the 4 compulsory ed pathways, right? And those people in those communities, it's a very vast, wide community. It's enjoyed, more families getting involved in that. Historically, there have been conflict that arose between school districts, the Department of Education, and families who were home educating. And home education is different than the homeschooling pathway through the EFA program. And part of the contention that began to rise in the group was really around, and that was the work we were doing with the Department of Education, was really creating some deeper understanding within the general community, the home education community, the pathways communities, and families who were EFA families on the differences between these 2 pathways. And in the midst of that, as I said, 2 members joined through different organizations who were incredibly, really in very specific positions, and really it affected the ability of the council to work. I spoke at the hearing that Representative Peternell presented where she was offering changes to the council, and I fully support that. I don't support dissolving the council completely. Perhaps it needs someone to take a look at it. Perhaps it does need the commissioner's involvement to some degree. There was a report written annually. We never had a problem with writing the report prior to last year. I have worked with the superintendent's office and school districts around the state to help where there were issues so that these different pathways can coexist peacefully and people can choose the appropriate pathway for their children. So again, there's so many reasons it would be great to reconsider and think about, I don't even know how you would do that at this point, but the amendment that she offered prior to this one. And I understand why there was that sudden shift, because after the amendment had been made offering some changes, there was another council meeting, and there was, again, specifically with a particular person who's now the chair, that makes it contentious in the meetings. And the person has all the, I'm going to presume good intentions, has all the right reasons to be doing whatever she's doing, but it greatly affects the council. And again, perhaps other people could be involved to help do that. But for this group to lose this opportunity to, one, work with the Department of Education, and two, work with their legislators, because I don't think it's quite as easy as it sounds that, oh, you can just call your legislator and they'll do this. I am very intrigued that the idea is that there's no need for the HEAC anymore. I do think it serves its purpose, especially given the fact that there's still rulemaking there. So I would ask you to actually reconsider, think about it. I don't know, develop a commission. I've served with you, Senator Ward, on that council. I think it has a purpose. It does need oversight. I'll agree with that.
Thank you. Any questions?
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anybody else? Seeing none, that concludes the hearing on House Bill 1155. And I will open up the hearing on House Bill 1256. And the prime sponsor is Representative Drago. Welcome.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. I'm Mike Drago. I represent the town of Raymond. Introducing HB 1256, which repeals the authority of the state librarian to award scholarships to American Library Association accredited schools. This is probably the most straightforward bill I've ever worked on. The three reasons why I think this is important. One, to start off, probably the least out of the three would be the fact that we don't even have a state librarian. It doesn't seem like we're making any progress in that area, so why have a law that's not needed? Secondly would be, the part that caught my eye is the American Library Association. For lack of better words, they're basically a political action committee that's partly funded by our tax dollars. That's a separate issue, but they push a one-sided agenda. As we, the legislator, continue to argue over what books are appropriate in schools, the American Library Association pushes back in the opposite direction. Everybody will argue right now we have a way to challenge books. You can challenge it and then maybe it gets removed. But the thing is, once it's challenged or removed, they call it a banned book. And my understanding, I could be wrong, but my understanding is the American Library Association collects data on all this. Librarians report back what books have been challenged, et cetera. I think in the month of October, there's the Read Banned Books Week, which is when librarians wear their fancy t-shirts, schools get all these sorts of posters. And all these books that have been challenged through the year that we think we're doing a good job challenging and getting these books out of schools now get publicized and pushed. Read these banned books. So that in a nutshell is the American Library Association. They have other groups like Every Library, who's the actual political side of it. They kind of work hand in hand. People on the American Library Association are board members now of Every Library. But if you type in some of the bills that we have dealing with these types of books, they push that. Please contact your legislator, tell them vote no on this kind of thing. So we have a state law pushing people towards a one-sided political agenda, and that to me is an issue. So that would be my second reason. And my third reason is when I was doing my research on this, I actually asked when the last time there was a scholarship awarded, and I think it was 26 and a half years ago. So it's not being used. We don't have a state librarian, and we're pushing towards training towards a one-sided political agenda. So all three reasons together, I think it's just a good idea to repeal this section of the law.
Questions? So your main thing is to repeal this section of law, that the library associations should not be able to give out awards, scholarship awards for graduate studies and library science.
It repeals the authority of the state librarian to do that. And like I said, the last time, going by their own records, was 26 and a half years ago that they actually did this.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody else? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anybody else wants to add their words to House Bill 1256? Representative Pettinel.
Thank you. For the record, thank you, Senator Ward, and thank you, members of the committee. For the record, Katie Pettinel. I represent Carroll District 6, the towns of Wolfboro and Tuftonboro. I really wasn't going to testify, but I did just want to point out, I'm not sure, I wasn't listening to Representative Drago's testimony because I was speaking with Senator Prentice. However, I believe it's the Library Trustees Association that distributes scholarships now. It's no longer the state librarian. So it's really just an unnecessary, very old statute. I can't remember how far back it goes, but I did have our committee researcher do some research on it for me, and she had to go back to like paper files that were buried in the archives somewhere.
Thank you very much. Anybody else? Seeing none, this concludes the hearing on House Bill 1256. Is it 9:45? Okay, we can open it up. We'll open up the hearing on House Bill 1529. And I think we have the prime sponsor, Representative Noble. Welcome.
Thank you. Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the committee. For the record, I'm Kristen Noble, and I represent Hillsborough District 2, the town of Bedford. Last year, I had a few people approach me asking me if we could eliminate the reading recovery training program because research has shown that reading recovery may provide short-term improvement, but those gains are often not sustained long-term. The concern was that this program is contributing to issues with literacy, and we shouldn't be training teachers to use it. There are states that have restricted or outright banned the method used in reading recovery. Before I put this bill in, I did speak to the department about it last summer and was told that this program hasn't been used in quite some time, and it won't be used again, so it was okay to repeal it. They have moved on to training in the LETTERS program. That's Language Essentials for Teachers of Reading and Spelling. That is aligned to the science of reading. And I'm told about 4,500 teachers have been trained in that so far. And that is it.
Questions? Comments? Senator Sullivan.
I just have a comment. When I worked on the preschool development grant, we were bringing this in. So yes, this is the program that replaced that. So thank you for bringing this forward.
Thank you.
What was the reading recovery program? What was it aimed to do?
So I'm not completely well-versed in that. I know that it uses a method called 3 queuing. which has research has shown that it's not very effective for long-term gains.
Madam Chair, I think we, most of us just referred to it as, oh God, the word just left me. It was like the course that the kids would take before they went into kindergarten, readiness program.
Okay, but it's not used anymore.
It might be used at the district level, but this particular training program used to be used by the department, and they no longer use it. So it's okay to take it off the books.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Any other questions? Senator Prentice?
Thanks. Thank you. Good to see you,
Good to see you
Representative
too.
Noble. Thank you. So at the state level,
Mhm.
you're saying it's no longer needed and that there are districts that may use this?
They might still be using that method. When we had the House hearing, there was a couple of people that came to say that it was still being used. I think that this is why we're seeing states are actually outright banning it from being used because it's proven to not be effective. A lot of is moving towards the science of reading, which is what we're doing here in this state as well.
Question, follow-up? Thank you, and thank you. I didn't thank you the first time, but thank you for taking my question. Here, my second question. Do we know how many districts are using this in New Hampshire?
Thank you for the question, and I do not know.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
we'd have to ask the department that. I'm not positive on that.
And third, one more follow-up. Thank you so much. One more question.
Mhm.
Along the same lines. You just said something about maybe other states. I want to make sure I'm clear on this. Are other states, you said banning or repealing? Ban might be a strong word. I don't know what's happening in other states that you're referred to.
From what I understand, they're actually putting into statute that they cannot use this 3Qing method that is used in the reading recovery program in order to teach reading.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Nate Dwyer? Welcome.
Thank you.
Turned out. There you go.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Nate Dwyer. I'm a resident in Manchester, and I came to heavily support this bill. I have a fair bit of experience tutoring kids, especially in underprivileged areas, and one of the key things that prevents them from advancing further is difficulty reading. And the horrible thing about reading recovery is not just that it's not effective, as Representative Noble said, though she is correct about that. It's actually negatively effective, in that being taught this way is worse than not being taught, it has been found, because of how it's taught, because of what the actual 3Qs method is, and I'll go into that later. And even worse than that, it's targeted at kids who are already poor at reading. So it's not just that they are having trouble reading, they're having trouble reading and then are shoved over into a ditch. It's one of the worst things I've ever heard of. And this is not to blame the teachers at all. The teachers don't know this. I don't expect a teacher to deeply study everything they're learning. They have reason to trust the government, and they should be able to. But then they're taught this method, and then after they're taught this method, they then try to teach the kids, and then it doesn't work. It's just a horrible thing to do to teachers. It's a horrible thing to do to the kids. I've not heard of a worse program. And it's based, of course, not just on faulty experimental science, but also just a completely faulty theory of mind. Basically, the 3Qs method is basically this idea that if you just put a kid in front of written words long enough, they'll learn how to read, much in the way if you put a kid around people talking a lot, they will learn how to speak. And this was thought, oh, the same thing will work for reading. But That's not at all how it works. That is a completely wrong theory of mind. There's been numerous studies with thousands of kids in them looking at what the expected results are of this program in a couple of different states. These have all been long-term negative. This is not even a partisan issue. This has been reported in NPR to, I'm pretty sure, Fox News. This is like, for educational science, this is actually somewhat settled, which is a rarity in educational science. Yeah, I just heard about this and it really hurt my heart, so I just felt I had to testify. Yeah, that's, I think, states that have actually banned this, I can speak a little bit to them. 3 states have gone full in on what's called the science of reading. This is just a new term for hooked on phonics. I know, it's boring, so you have to jazz it up a little bit. Nobody really likes, ooh, phonics, but phonics work. That's the thing. Phonics work, and most of all, it works for poor readers especially. And the states that have banned it, or not the states you would think are like at the height of education. These are the states that have banned it are actually the three of the worst. It's Louisiana, Alabama, and Mississippi. But since they banned it, in reading, they have shot up the ranks. I believe Alabama used to be saying thank God for Mississippi, but now Mississippi is like the 9th best state for reading, I think, at a 4th grade level, if I remember correctly. And Alabama's doing quite well too, which is out of nowhere, just by banning this system.
Thank you. Senator Sullivan?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you for your information and for taking my question. Is Manchester still using this?
I do not know, I'm sorry.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Any other questions? Senator Prentice, do you have a question? No. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anybody else in the audience? Come up here. Welcome again.
Good morning. Thank you for letting me speak. Heather Barker, NHSAA SSC Director, and previously Special Educator, School Administrator, Special Ed Director. I wholeheartedly support repealing this. I attended the House hearings. This program is designed to be used when kids use it as a progress monitoring, when kids start to fail and a gap develops, they're moved into a reading recovery program, which is expensive, the training, all the components of it. And previously it was required. The school districts do that years ago. So I think the intention here is to not use it since it's not aligned with the science of reading, and the short-term gains that occur between 1st and 3rd grade are gone by the end of 3rd grade. So all of that work really doesn't result in anything. So I completely support you, Representative Noble.
Thank you.
Yep.
Anybody else? We have a gentleman down here. It's not green.
Good morning, Senators. Nate Green. I'm with the New Hampshire Department of Education. I'm a division director there. I just want to add one additional thing because I think most of the speakers have kind of touched on the relevant pieces to this. But at the state level, the Department of Education hasn't done any support with this program in a little over 10 years. So it's not a program that has been recently supported by the Department of Education. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Anybody else? Seeing none, that concludes the hearing on House Bill 1522. And that actually concludes the hearing on all our bills for today. Now we'll go into executive session. Do you want to take a break? We're going into executive session. Do you want to have a break beforehand?
5 minutes?
Five-minute recess.
So letters. So that don't know anyway.
Senate Education Committee will go into executive session. I need a motion and a second.
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
How about if we start with two of the ones from this morning?
Sounds good.
Thinking of 15, 59, and 1256.
Madam Chair, you mean 1529?
29.
Yep.
I'd like to make a motion if ought to pass on HB 1529.
Okay, I have an
I'll
also
sec-
pass.
I'll second.
Any discussion on it? Seeing no discussion, all in favor of ought to pass on 1529?
Aye.
Aye. That's 4-0. Put it on consent?
Move for consent?
Second. I'll take it
All
out.
in favor of consent?
Aye.
Aye.
Trevor, I'll
Aye,
take it.
aye. That's 4-0. I'll take it out.
Okay, or Senator.
Okay. And 1256.
I would move on to pass.
Ought to pass, second.
Hold on.
There's another
Yes, second.
deleting an old statute.
Second.
Any discussion on it? All those in favor of ought to pass on 1256?
Aye.
Aye. 4-0. And
You-
consent?
You have to say, you have to ask at most.
If I have four, how
I
can
don't think
have
she
no
did.
votes?
I think Senator
Yeah,
Prentice
I'm
opposed.
opposed to repealing that.
Okay, we'll start from scratch. I have ought to pass in a second on 1256. All those in favor, we've had the discussion, there was none. And all those in favor of ought to pass on 1256?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So we have 3-1 on that one. Thank you, Senator Prentice.
Thank you, Chair Ward.
Would my colleague be objectionable to a consent?
No.
So I'll move for consent.
I'll second.
Are you okay with put it on
Yeah,
consent?
Fine.
Okay,
Fine with consent.
so it's 4-0 on consent. Sullivan, do you want to take it out?
I will, but I think we still have to have the official vote on consent.
The what?
We have to still have the official vote on consent.
Finish the consent business. and move on.
I have had a.
Okay,
official vote.
Trevor is running a tight ship, and we're gonna.
Okay, all those in favor of ought to pass? No,
Aye.
no, sorry, on consent.
Aye.
Okay,
Aye.
we just checked with the Senator Prentice said that she was okay
I
to
am
put it
okay
on
with
consent.
Thank you, yes.
Okay? So that was 4-0.
Yes, ma'am.
And Senator Sullivan will take it out.
Yes, I will.
Trevor's relentless.
Trevor,
Do you have another question?
you're doing a great job, and we all appreciate you.
Okay, let's go back to some of the older ones.
Do you want to do the HEACs? Can I do the HEAC one?
No.
Okay.
Not yet. I want to find out something else first.
Okay.
House Bill 112. And there were some changes. Yeah, there's one. Okay, that's the,
There's an amendment by Senator Ward on that.
okay, that's the bill that requires students in the university or community college system to pass United States citizenship and immigration services. And Lauren Banker and Shannon Reed suggested some changes, and the changes are reflected in my amendment 1465S.
Madam Chair, I can make a motion of ought to pass.
On the amendment,
Well, I'll make the underlying motion of ought to
the
pass.
underlying bill.
I'll second.
Okay, so we have an ought to pass, an underlying bill, 112. And then we have the amendment. And the amendment as put forth here have asked to take out on line 10, with a score of, no, have it, the sentence ends with a score of 70 or better, or, and the rest of it gets deleted, shall be required, take and pass such tests with a score of more than 70. And Shannon Reed and Lauren Backer asked me to take that out. So there'll be, if you support the amendment,
Senator Ward, you said Shannon Reed and who?
put it,
Shannon Reed, and who was the other person?
Lauren Backer.
Okay.
So I need a vote on the amendment, 1465.
Senator Ward, can you just tell me again where you're making the changes on line 10?
Just delete part of the sentence on line 10 on the amendment on the first page.
Of
You
the
have this-
amendments.
With a score of 70 or better. And leave the or, and then you take out the rest. Shall be required to take and pass such tests within a score of 70 or greater. Take out those words.
So take out shall be required to take and pass such tests.
Yeah.
with a score of 70.
Yeah. And there will be a committee amendment after we pass the amendment. So do I have a motion for the amendment?
So I can offer amendment 1465, and I'll make a motion to adopt the amendment 465 with the changes as expressed by the chair.
Yeah, are you making a motion to approve the amendment?
The amendment with the recommended
1465,
amendment number 1465S.
right. Do we have a section for accepting the amendment?
Madam Chair, I'm sorry, I'm confused.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what the amendment does that you've presented,
Well,
because if you take out that second part, then I think we're back to the original
you have to
bill.
go back to and compare it.
I'm with you.
Okay,
I don't get
yeah,
what
so I
that-
think if we, on your original amendment, on your amendment, line 9, I think, is additional language to what we see on line 10 on the original bill, but then if we take out that second part that you just suggested, I think it reverts back to the original bill.
I did read it and compare it, and there was some minor changes that the university system wanted. So we can hold off, and
Yeah, I
you
think-
can double check it and read it side by side.
I think
So
I'd like to
Senator Abbas, you want to
I can withdraw my
withdraw your
my motions and amendments.
Okay. So we'll wait on 112. So we have withdrawn 112. Uh, 1571. Requires the Department of Education to review the statewide academic standards every 10 years, beginning in June 2026.
I would like to make an ought to pass motion on HB 1571.
Do I have a second on it?
Second.
The ought to pass in second. Any discussion?
Could I ask one question? I'm just flying through this. So on lines 3 and 4, it says shall be reviewed for possible revision every 10 years beginning in June of 2026. But this takes effect on July 1st, 2027. Am I just mixing and matching my dates here?
So we should amend that we should have a
Beginning in
committee
June.
amendment that amends that date to beginning.
Do we want to either amend it to say June 2027, or we do want to move the effective date up?
Takes effect July 27. Do you want to change the line 4, beginning in July 26?
Yeah, I think it's, July 2026.
We could do that, or we could roll the effective date back. When I say roll it back, it still would be in the future. That was a double number, I apologize.
Well, I think it's easier just to do the beginning in July 26 and line 4.
Well,
Can I ask Representative Noble to come forward? Do you ask a question?
it would have to be, I guess, it might make sense to put June of 27, because even if this were to pass and
Representative Noble, do you want to come forward?
reach the desk, it still has to get potentially signed, and it might not reach the desk until after July 1st.
So the reason why we changed the effective date to 2027 had to do around the budget, because it did have a pretty big fiscal note with it. So we pushed it off, and I didn't realize that there was another date in there.
So pushing that to putting the date on line 4 to July 2027.
It would line up with the budget, so I think that's probably best.
Thank you.
Mhm.
So
Well,
I'd
if
like
you-
to,
No, you can't do July 27, because then you have to take effect on July 1, 27. You go to,
July. So line forward, say beginning in July 2027.
Yes.
So I'd like to make a motion for committee amendment that changes line 4 on House Bill 1571 to read beginning in July 2027.
2020 what?
7.
Every 10 years, beginning, replacing June with July 2027.
Yes.
So you want to have July 27, and this act shall take effect July 1, 27.
Yes.
Good. Did you get that, Trevor? Okay.
I'll
We need a
second.
So, Senator Abbas.
So then we need a motion of ought to pass as amended.
You need to vote to accept the amendment first.
Okay.
What was your direction?
We need to vote to accept the amendment.
Yes.
I'll make a motion to
As amended.
accept the amendment. Is there a second?
I think I made the motion and you seconded.
You have a motion to accept the amendment, the amending, right?
Yep.
Okay. All those in favor of the committee amendments?
Aye.
Aye.
And then I'd like to make a motion of ought to pass as
We
amended.
have the amendment, okay.
I'll second.
I have an ought to pass with the committee amendment. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Abbas.
I think we have some discussion.
This discussion.
We do have discussion. Thank you, Madam Chair. So in referencing Luke Klein from the State Board of Education's testimony, which was presented as neutral, okay, he pointed out that it's really the job of the State Board of Education, at least this is how I remember this, because I wrote myself some notes on it.
I did too.
Yeah, that it's really their job to do, not DOE's. So are we, if we're gonna have this done, have we assigned it to the wrong, are we attaching it administratively to the department, or should this, should this be left to the Board of Education, the State Board of Education to do? There seems to be, there seems to be a conflict in this language.
Representative Noble, do you want to come up and clarify that?
So it is the job of the state board to approve those standards, but to actually get the work done to do It's going to take probably some extensive research to come up with the standards that the state board will eventually approve. That would be done by the department.
Okay. So we're on the right track.
Yes,
As
and
far
I
as-
actually confirmed that. He's no longer here, but Nate Green, I talked with him about that just a few minutes ago.
Okay.
And he says, yes, it is correct. They would approve those standards, but the work is actually done by employees at the department.
Okay. Thank you.
I believe Senator Prentice has.
Thank you. This-
Thank you, Representative Noble. So it's not unusual in my experience, and I worked for a state agency where we worked with state boards that had responsibilities like this and, did rule writing, developed, protocols for, care in the field, et cetera. I know that's different than education, but the structure of them are somewhat the same, and it is not unusual for a board that is enabled by statute, who has a responsibility to rely on the department that they're administratively attached to do this work. So I'm concerned that we're flipping, I appreciate your efforts, but I'm concerned that we might be flipping this in a way that wholly puts us into the department where this should be, I think, the Board of Education directing this and leaning into the department to do the research and to do the work and to take that back and make the decisions. I mean, in the end, they're going to have to approve all of this, but it just seems to me like that we might be shifting a dynamic that exists for a reason. I mean, that's what the board, I think it's under the Board of Education. I think that they should be setting the stage for this, leaning into the Department of Education, giving them direction for what they want, and then pulling that information back in to do the final assessment, make the recommendations, and then vote on it. And I'm worried that this will flip this in a way that doesn't reflect that. That's my opinion right now.
Okay.
Okay, that's all.
Okay.
I could ask for clarification purposes. So the Board of Education would ultimately make the approve what is, and obviously the report. So if they're gathering the report and then approving what's in the report, I mean, it seems like, when I understand, the Department of Education would do much of the legwork to put the report together, then present it to the board for approval. Or it could, I suppose, get rejected. So I would think having it separate would be the appropriate way to do it. And I could be wrong, but
And Senator Abbas, I could be wrong as well, but if it's as written, in my opinion, wholly shifted to the Department of Education instead of leaving it with the board that directs the Department of Education to do the work and bring it back, it might seem like, I'm getting really weedy about this, but I took that neutral testimony to heart and thought about my experiences working in similar roles, and I don't want to turn this around in a way that it becomes all within state government, that the Board of Education maintains its higher seat in this process, higher seat or in charge.
So what is the suggestion?
There might not be one. There might just be a difference in a vote, and that's okay.
Okay.
I mean, that's, and maybe between now and the time this hits the floor, something will change, but that's how I see it. And I'd be happy to talk to Mr. Klein and Nate Green. I read a few articles about this. I mean, I get the whole math, Common Core. I have to say, and tried to work with my daughter when she was, bringing math home from school, was very different than when I brought math home from school. I appreciate all of that Anne Marie Banfield displayed for us, but there is a dynamic here structurally within government that I'm concerned we might flip. I don't know if that's your intention. I'm not trying to be judgy, but I think we should leave the authority where it is, honestly, and let them direct.
Absolutely not my intention. I brought my concern to the department of getting the academic standards updated, and they helped me with the language to put into the bill to get that moving. And so that's where it came up with. Not my intention at all to flip that. And that's it.
for purpose of discussion, currently the law states that it's the general court that revises and updates the minimum standards as identical. Every 10 years, the general court shall periodically, but not less frequently than every 10 years, review, revise, and update as necessary the minimum standards. So this shifts it actually from the general court to the Department of Education. And then the Board of Education oversees and approves.
That's not what Mr. Klein said in his testimony.
This is what our law is.
Thank you, Senator Sullivan, but I'm just sharing with you that, over the years of, whether I always agree with Mr. Klein or not, I respect the work that he's done on the State Board of Education. And so he presented neutral testimony. I'm respecting that. I don't know how to resolve this besides have a vote and then just take it from there. But that's okay. Sometimes we can't solve.
If I could ask a question, Madam Chair. So the Department of Education, they shall initiate a revision. They get it started, but I think the final say would still go with the board.
But it also states
So
that
they're just getting it started.
the state board shall not amend any existing academic standards and shall not approve any new academic standards without the prior review and recommendation of the Legislative Oversight Committee. So I think this is just shifting all that responsibility to the Department of Education, who probably does all the work anyway, and then just brings it forward to us.
Okay. So I have an ought to pass in a second on House Bill 1571. And have we had enough discussion on it?
Yes, Senator Ward.
And Senator Ward, just the motion is ought to pass as amended. That's currently on the table.
Motion to pass as amended, and that was the change in date. All those in favor of ought to pass as amended? One, two, three. Yes? No?
No.
No? Okay.
I'm going to hold my line for now and we'll see.
Okay, that's
Okay.
3-0. And I think we probably should not put it on consent, but discuss it on the floor. Okay?
Okay.
Abbas, do you want to take it out?
Yes.
Okay. Senator Abbas will take it out.
And Senator Ward, Senator Altshuler is walking over now and boom,
Okay.
there she is. It's like magic. Okay.
There we go.
No, I don't expect a great honor.
Now, House Bill 1573.
Could potentially institutionalize this way too far over. I don't think that that was intent, but that's what it looks like. Someone might think. We're okay to have different. Let me talk to
No,
Colin.
let's not do that one.
I don't disagree.
Okay, let's do 1774.
With that.
Has to do with granting.
I'm okay with that. Put it on my to-do list.
The 1774, and that one has a note from the IRS by Ramsey.
$1774, it sounds like a. I looked at this last night. Where are my notes?
Was not here for this.
If we look at the amended analysis, there's three things. Direct the Department of Revenue Administration to participate in the federal income tax credit for contributions. Directs the Department of Education, qualifying scholarship granting. Direct the governor to approve workforce training programs. You look at Roman numeral 1 and look at the report, the hearing report. Jennifer Ramsey from the IRS asked me to explain that the DRA does not get involved in the Pell Grant part of the bill, but the DRA is responsible for choosing to participate in the federal income tax credit program each year. Do I have a motion for this bill, 1774?
I think what it's looking for, I mean, if I understand what
What?
the written materials provided by the Department of Revenue want some changes to the bill. Is there an amendment prepared?
There is no amendment. It's just what she said at the hearing, that they don't get involved with the Pell Grant, but they do get involved with some other things.
If we would consider an amendment to this, would it benefit this committee? I know my colleague, Senator Sullivan's on the Ways and Means Committee, but perhaps make sure we get the language.
Yeah, what is the language that you want?
Oh, I see what they're saying there. There's some technical flaws in the draft. But to do that on a committee amendment, maybe,
Okay, do you want to work on it?
Sure, I'll work with.
that might be a tightrope to walk.
Okay,
And
let's hold off on 1774.
and Senator Ward, and I'd be,
Yes.
sorry. So
1774.
it's like a play, 1774.
That was 1776.
I know, but still before. Senator Ward, and I'd be happy to work with Senator Abbas, and whoever's going to work on this, because there was a discussion about a potential conflict between, the governor, say, opting into a program where the department opts out, or vice versa. There's got to be, that's got to be cleaned up as well. And DRA also talked about whether this should be under DOE.
Okay,
I think that
you
needs
can
to
always go
be.
back to Representative Kofalt and ask him what he was thinking.
It was Jennifer Ramsey was able to. Yeah.
What's the issues here? 'Cause sometimes she pops in.
Let's do
Something wrong.
1827. See, 1827, the bill requires the Department of Education to conduct a confidential criminal history record check on all prospective educational personnel.
I would make a motion if ought to pass on HB 1827.
I have a motion to pass on 1827. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Discussion. They have always said education, the Department of Education has always had background checks for all kinds of people, and they just have added that anybody looking to work as an educator or anything with the schools, that they will also have a confidential background checks. Any discussion, any thoughts, questions?
So this bill asks for an extra $446,000 in order to make this happen. So I don't know that.
There's almost a half a million dollar ask for this. I don't think it's a bad idea. I just don't know that there's a $500,000 we're floating around.
In the note at the bottom, the Department of Safety says that they don't expect that, so I don't know where it comes from. A lot of crazy.
The effective date would, from a fiscal aspect, the expenditure would not begin until 2028. Also has a fiscal note, and again, it's to the chair of Senate Finance of whether they accept the bill or not.
It's July 1, 2027. Is there a new one? An amended version?
So the Department of Safety would like to have 2 positions.
This act shall take effect July 1, 2027.
Correct, but the expenditure
Yes.
doesn't kick in until 2028.
So who's going to cover the cost for that year?
I'm not clear why there's no expenditure in 27.
Right, yeah, so if that's a bump down to the school districts for a full year.
May I?
Senator Prentice.
Thank you, Chair Ward. And so I think there's 2 decisions here. One which is, one which is ours to make, and then one, from a policy perspective, and then the other, the financial decision, which, we do often weigh in on the financial decisions before we send them to finance, and finance either agrees with us or disagrees with us. And I don't want to do anything that is going to push any more costs in the direction of local school districts, but I do think from a policy perspective, this closes a loop, the loophole, or whatever you want to call it, that currently exists because of the way that background checks are conducted in a present time only and are not continuous unless you are something called a wrap back state. Then we don't, this is trying to clean that up, which I think I'd like to think we can all agree with, but I won't put words in my colleagues' mouths. But there is a cost to this. I don't understand why the Department of Safety needs 2 more positions, except that a lot of agencies now are looking for background checks that weren't previously as we mature as professions and within life. But who does own this, the funding of this? Is it the state? Is it the locals? And there is a cost to the person who is asking for the background check. Usually, unless their school district pays for it. When I had, I've had to have a background check, like for my EOT license, which I don't have, right now I'm not carrying a license, I'm just certified. I paid for that out of my own pocket. So there is, I'm concerned about how these 2 things are coming together. All that to say, I think the policy decision we could make, and we have to put on record what our concerns are about the funding and ask the Finance Committee to do the work on this. That's my opinion. Thank you.
Okay.
Madam Chair, so I'm confused reading the methodology. So in the second paragraph, it says that they already conduct checks and that the department anticipates that the costs associated with adding staffing and administrative support could be covered through the existing fee per check. So that might be what it costs? I'm asking, I'm not.
Yeah.
That might be what it costs, but it looks like the costs would be covered through the fees. So actually wouldn't
So why is it
be
even
an addition, I don't know.
So it's
They want 2 positions, and I don't think that
It's-
sorry, I'm speaking out of turn.
it's $47 is what they charge for the check. The Department of Safety gets a fee. So out of the $400,000, the anticipated amount of checks, they're going to get some of that back, more than half of it back. But there's going to be IT programming and support costs. There could be legal and hearing fees that go along with it. But the Department of Safety is ultimately conducting the background check.
Well, the Department of Safety say that they're capable, they know what to do, and they can take care of all of these things with the 2 more people. But on the other hand, and as Senator Sullivan said, on this section, the second paragraph on the methodology, they do approximately 3,000 checks annually using 1.5 staff positions to perform the work. Under this bill, they'll think they're gonna have another 20,000 individuals over a 5-year period, or about 4,000 additional checks per year. The cost associated with additional staffing and administrative support should be covered through the existing $100 per check, without the need for additional funding.
I think the total revenue in the fiscal note would exceed the expenditure.
I think so too.
And I agree with Senator Prentice, it's a policy, it's a good policy. The question we have is, why do we need another $500,000 to support 2 positions? But it's going to the fiscal, as a fiscal note anyhow.
So we'll pass the policy and let them deal with it.
Pass the policy?
Pass the buck.
Yeah. We'll pass the policy.
I'm not totally comfortable with passing that with how many, given that we've had a history of financial bills being waived. So there's no guarantee that this will get its second hearing. And, unless we want to change the effective date, this is a downshift.
Did you say you wanted to change the?
Change the effective date, make it July 1st, 2028.
Okay.
That's 2 years of kids being in buildings with people that aren't checked. I'm not comfortable with that.
So any further
There's
discussion?
nothing that precludes any school from doing a background check. This is mandating. So schools can do this if they want to do this. We're just not telling them that they have to do it and pay for it until we're providing them the resources to actually do
It's
it.
just mandating that anybody who is looking for any position that has anything to do with school and children, that they
Yes.
will have a background check.
Great idea. Love that.
So-
Don't love unfunded mandates, though.
So I have a note to pass and I have a second. And do we need any further discussion? Senator Prentice?
recess?
What?
Can I have a 5-minute recess?
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
We'll have a
Microphone, the recess.
5-minute recess.
I wonder how many schools aren't doing this already. Because I know you just to volunteer, you have to have a background check.
Yeah, I know.
So I wonder how many schools aren't doing it.
Thank you, Chair Ward. That was productive. Very productive, thank you. Just needed a minute. Back to 18, 27.
Trevor, what would I do without you?
We'd all be lost without you, Trevor.
Senate Education Committee is out of recess. We're continuing with our executive session. Back on House Bill 1827. Do I have any new thoughts? I have it out to P with the second,
Ready to vote.
and we've had discussion.
It just sounded funny when you said it.
So
Ready to vote.
we're
So
ready
you
to vote.
to vote?
Yeah,
Okay.
we're ready to vote.
Okay. Who is in favor of ought to pass?
Aye.
Aye.
We have 5-0.
Move for consent.
Move to consent.
So moved.
All those in favor of consent?
Aye.
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 Need to take it out.
5-0.
We need to.
Senator Altshuler, would you take it out?
Sure. I will.
Anything else, Trevor? That's it? Wow.
All for today, my friend.
How about 1828?
Should say 1820? 1828. Already amendments.
1828. Requiring Department of Education to establish an auditing process relative to teacher preparation programs at the post-secondary educational level. Amendment 2026. Okay.
Chair,
That is amended by the House.
yeah,
that
Chair
we're
Ward,
working on right now.
are you, Chair Ward? Like, are you intending to bring forward your amendment?
Do I have a motion on 1828?
So I'll make a motion of ought to pass.
Is a second?
Second.
Is a second? Okay.
And I believe there's an
Now we have an amendment.
It's coming around.
Is it
Sir?
1294? Is that the one?
1294.
Okay,
yeah.
yeah. I have. Which replaces part 2.
Okay, the amendment 1294 reads, "The Department of Education shall include in existing professional educated preparation program reviews and an auditing process requiring that institutions of higher education provide metrics that document the degree to which every applicable educated preparation program at an institution of higher education is effectively teaching the science of reading and shall publish the audit results on the department website." And that is intended to go after Roman numeral 2. Or to replace the existing Roman numeral 2 with this one. So, what's the motion on the amendment?
So,
We have motion on the bill.
Right,
Yeah, I
so
thought I
I'll-
heard ought to pass.
They ought to pass Senator Prentice?
No, I didn't make the motion. I just saying, I thought I heard an
did you make a
OTP,
motion?
but we
I
gotta
made a
have it.
motion of ought to pass.
yeah, I thought so when I seconded.
Okay.
I think you were handing out the amendment, I'm sorry.
I'll have an ought to pass on the amendment. I need, and I have a second? I'll second it. Discussion on the amendment.
just for clarification on the amendment, where exactly is it inserting? Is it getting rid of part one or replacing two as inserted by section one? I'm sorry, I'm not following that.
The amendment replaces Roman numeral 2.
Just Roman
in the
numeral 2.
Amended bill from the House.
Lines 15.
Because
Yeah,
tightens
15 to 18,
it up
okay.
a little bit.
So will that also change the fiscal note since it's using information that is being generated already? No? Madam Chair?
Yes, Auxiliary.
Yeah, what may,
Would you speak up a little bit because
Sure.
I'm barely hearing you?
yeah, no worries, sorry. Would it be possible to hear from Ms. Banker to get some clarification? Because she testified.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you. Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee. For the record, my name is Lauren Banker. I serve as the Director of Government Relations for the university system. This amended change just incorporates the audit in our existing reviews that already happened. So the language just changes it from being a standalone thing to being something that's embedded in reviews that we already undergo through the department. So just more of like efficiency, simplicity's sake there. And I believe at the hearing, Steve Appleby at the department said that that was okay with him too. So we had talked to him about that.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
That actually does. Now I understand how it
Yeah.
works once
Okay.
it's in. Thank you. Thank you for the clarification. I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
thank you.
Thank you. Okay, back to the amendment. We have an ought to pass in a second. Any further discussion on the amendment? Sounds to me like it really has been requested as a clarification. Are you ready to vote on it?
Sure.
All those in favor of the amendment 1294S?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Senator Prentice?
I said aye.
Okay,
I said aye,
So that's-
and I raised my hand.
the amendment passes. Now back to the underlying bill. We have an ought to pass in second, and we have an approved amendment.
Make a motion to ought to pass as amended.
I'll second.
Ought to pass with amendments. I have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Yes.
No,
No from all children?
no,
Okay. How about you, Prentice?
She's
How about Prentice?
Senator Ward. No, I voted affirmatively.
Okay, so it's 4-0.
Is my colleague in District 24 opposing?
Put it on consent, 4-1.
I
I'm
do
sorry,
not.
4-1.
So I'll make a motion for consent.
Second.
Second for consent. All those in favor of consent?
Aye.
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 Senator Prentice?
No. Okay, I want to keep this on
well,
consent.
there you go.
No consent?
No consent.
No
Okay,
consent.
so 3-2.
No consent.
Didn't see that.
There you go.
Okay, Senator
And
Prentice,
from the
do you want
left.
to take it out?
Sure. Yes, I would. No.
Two. 1832. Senator Prentice, did you ever get an answer?
I did. The question that I volunteered to get answered had to do with the compact for military children as they move state to state. And where are they, would this impact the compact's mechanisms? It wouldn't, but what it would do is if they're, so first of all, these children, and I don't want to do any, let me be clear for the record that I'm not ever going to work against military families. But military families already have an interstate compact that gives them priority and placement and moves them seamlessly from state to state. A concern that's been raised and was raised in other states, as well as could be an issue here, and I talked to the commissioner that's in charge of it here, has to do with if they come with a special education, they come with an IEP, that there is not a mechanism to address that within the EFA program, make that, transition over. So there's a potential conflict there. Again, I don't want to work against military families. The person from who's our, I have to look at his name, the very nice gentleman that always comes and testifies on behalf of Veterans Affairs in the military in New Hampshire said that this was a nice to do, but he did not say a need to do. And I do feel, again, with this, the interstate compact for military children's movement between states is one of the only compacts that all 50 states have adopted, agree, and put, and it is to give a smooth transition and priority to these children. So special education, so they're getting that already, and special education services for these kids could be compromised.
Okay.
That was the concern that was brought forward.
Okay.
And that's what I have. So that's why I wouldn't want to support this. I just don't want it to be in any way appearing that I don't support military families, because I clearly do.
Do you want an ITL on it?
Yes, I don't think. And I'd keep it off consent so it could be spoken to on the floor,
Yep.
but that's a later thing to deal with, sorry. So my motion is inexpedient to legislate. How about interim study? Motion for interim study.
1932, interim study. Little nicer.
I would still, maybe we could hold this one.
We can do what?
We're on 1832.
Either that, or we can just go interim study and have the House work on it.
If I may, Madam Chair, would you be able to hold this one for next week?
Okay, we can hold it.
Thank you.
Have a request to hold this bill until
That's
next.
fine, and I'd be happy to share what was sent to me from the, I can email it, yep.
That'd be great, thank you.
So would you take back your oath to pass?
I will rescind my motion. It wasn't on to pass, it was interim study, and yes, I'll rescind that.
If you rescind your motion, I want to pass whoever did it.
Yes.
So we have it, nothing has happened on 1832. It's back to the drawing board. 1836. Okay, 1836.
Send this around to everybody, but yeah, 36.
Looking for an ITL on it.
Which one? Sorry, I was just pulling up my,
Well, this is the one with the reports that the districts have to have a report done.
yeah, okay.
And the
No, I
complaint that
was,
they weren't done.
I was looking
and
at my,
Mr.
email from
Prue
Mr.
said that
Ritchie.
96+% get them in. And shortly after that, the rest of them come in as well. So it seems to me that if that happens, why have a bill to ask them to do it if it's already being done? That's, and we know who the culprits are, so. I'm putting in for an ITL on that bill. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Senator Altshuler. Okay, discussion.
Madam Chair, so there's been some reports about this reporting that they have not been done correctly, and I think this is an effort to make sure that they are actually done correctly. There was some misinformation that was put out from the districts.
Are you reading the hearing report?
No, I've been seeing it on the news.
So I think the original bill in the House, you wouldn't have been able to receive like certain building aid grants or grants that were available. And it would, I believe that, correct me if I'm wrong, the prime sponsor, Representative Ladd, that was his original intent. This was amended in the House to make it all state aid to education, which I'm certainly not excusing the failure to comply with the reports. That compliance rates rather, I think it was around 5%. Complete with the ones that submit nothing, which, but it's a pretty harsh, dare I say, penalty
Yeah, the state aid and.
for failing to submit the report. I'm not excusing
withheld.
it, but
Okay.
that is it's more than just a hammer.
Madam Chair?
Senator Altshuler.
Thank you. So we did hear testimony that the Department of Education had been slow to give guidance to some of those departments, school departments that had been very slow in completing their reports. They had asked for guidance, and getting the guidance was brought them well outside of the deadline, and that when they got the help that they needed to complete the reports, they sent them in. And we only have 16 schools that are still struggling at the time of the testimony. And, we heard that, they need some help. So I don't know that taking state aid away from schools that are asking for help to do required reports, if you're asking for help, then get the help versus getting a penalty for not getting the help when it was convenient for the person who's helping. It just seems like a really unnecessary penalty. We have 96% compliance right away, and then we have testimony that schools are asking for help, but it's been very slow in coming. So, there's a little bit we can give on each end that, this will get done.
Senator Abbas.
Once they are compliant, it's just the aid is withheld until they become compliant. But again, I think the punishment may be more severe than the crime, shall we say. I know this is not a criminal act, but I just think that's a bit much. I think, so considering the prime sponsors seem more, I interpret his testimony, may like the underlying bill better. It didn't work so well in that chamber, so I think sending it back may not be productive. So I would support an ITL motion.
So we have the 96% of schools complete the report on time. And the ones who did not are the same four that we have discussed earlier. And Mr. Frew stated in 2025, all schools submitted the IBAS report, showing that there's no need for this bill.
If there's still some help and guidance that's needed, maybe a better motion would be interim study on this so that people could come to the table and discuss what's actually happening with it.
Okay. I have an interim study on this one. Have a second?
Well, you already made a motion on ITL. so we'd have
ITL,
to keep track
I'll
of that.
remove my ITL motion, although I think it's,
Then I'd like to make a motion of interim study.
now I have an interim study motion. Any second for interim study? Seeing none. So we go back to the ITL motion? Is there a second for the ITL?
Second.
Okay. What, I need to hear something. who wants something on this bill? Senator Oshowin?
No, I agreed with you that there's, you know, the schools that are not in compliance have asked for help to be in compliance, and I don't think we need legislation for a process that's already underway. For what? For, you know,
So what would, what?
I'm ITL with you. I seconded your motion.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I have an ITL in a second. All those in favor of an ITL? 1, 2, 3, 4, okay.
M&A.
Yeah, I know. So I have an ITL 4 to 1. Do you want to put it on consent?
I'll move for consent.
Second.
All those in favor of consent? Consent 4 to 1, okay. Who wants to take it up? You just should take it up. Prentice, you want to take it up?
Yes.
Prentice.
Senator Prentice would be happy to take it out.
Okay. Six, we're gonna wait with this one. We can work for another 15 minutes. Do you have anyone that you really want to take out? I don't hear any suggestions. So does it tell me that you will like to get out of executive session and go home?
Do we recess for a second?
I wanted to wait off. I want to do it now. Okay. You want to wait on that?
Yes,
Yeah.
I made the mistake.
Yes, it is, okay. You want to wait on 1832?
Yes.
Okay. $17.92, do you want to do $17.92?
Not today, no. No, thank you.
What about this? 1573. Yeah, that's the one we're gonna have several sections to go in. You think we can do the 15 minutes? We can do that.
I think so, can we?
Take a look at 1573.
And then the next one down was 1774 whole, yeah, okay. 1773.
That's right, that's Senator Lang's amendment that goes with this too.
1770.
That's the non-germane amendment that we did.
Yeah.
Kind of hearing that, yes,
Yeah.
last week.
I'd like to make a motion of ought to pass on HB 1573.
Okay,
I'll second that.
I have a motion of ought to pass in a second of 1573.
And then I'd like to present, or bring forward Senator Lang's amendment 1244S.
I'll second that.
Okay. We're looking at Amendment 1244S. And that's adding,
I don't think I have that one. Have 1461. Wait, it's under here. You have a motion on the amendment? No. Yeah,
On
right.
Lane's.
Yeah, right, just take a look at yours.
So that bill is replacing all after section 2.
Which one?
I don't have the amendment yet. Thank you.
The amendment of it to HB 1573, 1244. Sullivan, you put that in? Have it ought to pass with that amendment?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We discussed the amendment.
I think you and I discussed the amendment last week. You were here last week, right?
Right, but
Mhm.
I'm talking about now in executive session.
Yeah, go on.
Thank you, Senator Ward. So I mean, I understand that this is directed at one particular situation, which it's unfortunate that through the current structure and law, that the decision was made, an assignment was made, and now a local school district is saying no, that they will not accept that assignment. So we have a child stuck somewhere in the middle. My concern is that this is, setting up a detour or a collateral mechanism that comes almost close to, I don't want to use, I don't think it's open enrollment, but we are overriding a local school. I mean, we don't know the reasons. And I asked this during the hearing, and some of them may not be privy to us because they are protected, but I'm concerned that we're overstepping our bounds in a discussion where these local school districts, and between the schools, the school districts, they should be able to work this out, that this is being used. I just feel we're overstepping our bounds, and I'm happy to talk about it more. I want to share with folks on a related piece of legislation. A number of my school superintendents called me in and wanted to meet, and they said they're worried about with some of the ways or moves that are being made, that these school superintendents who normally pick up the phone and talk to each other and work things out will now not be able to do that. They will be forced into a legal situation. And so I don't think what's happening here as it was described to us, I don't think it's right. But I am concerned that we're overstepping our bounds with this amendment. Appreciate Senator Lang's intent. I just can't support it. And that's what I'll say for now. Thank you.
Okay, any other discussion?
My huge pile of folders.
I support the amendment,
You support the amendment?
yes.
Who supports the amendment?
Are we taking a vote on the amendment?
Yeah, let's take, we have ought to pay, you,
Yep.
ought to pass, that it is seconded, and we have had discussion, and now we can take a vote on the amendment. Who is voting ought to pass on the amendment?
Aye.
Aye.
So there's 3 to 2, okay. Opposed?
Nay.
Prentice and Alschiller, okay. Do you want me to do the second amendment? Before we will vote on the bill?
What is the second?
The second amendment is 1461 by Ward.
Trevor, it must be like a blessing
Thank
and a
you.
curse to sit next to me. Thank you.
This was educational hardship that is being included in this bill. This is clarification of some of the words used. So on this Roman numeral 2, it's explaining what a civil event is, because it's talking about kids being excused for participation in certain kinds of events. And that's clearing up, clarifying what kinds of events. They can't just be just anything. It has to be some specific events that they can get excused for. So that first part replaces the section Roman numeral 2. The third part of this thing goes to Roman numeral 3. Inserted by section 1 of the bill by replacing it with the following: students attending multi-day civics. So what needs to be done there? And then under 4,
Does this any way impact,
under 4 you add a letter of excusal signed by a government or event official. So it's an amendment that it sort of needs to go in 3 different places in the bill. Mostly for clarifying what is meant.
Senator Ward, so if I understand this correctly, this requires the the State Board of Education to develop some rules for attending civic events but students, but this is just for 2 excused absences per academic year. And if they're going to do more than, if they're planning to be away for more than 2 days, that they have to enroll in an ELO. If I understand this correctly. Is that the intention? Okay, got it.
Madam Chair, if I could just
Yes,
inquire.
Senator Abbas?
The prior the amendment that we adopted, 1244S, was a replace all after section 2 of the bill, I thought, which on the bill that was originally presented to us, I think that's line 6. So
Section 2, which is on the second page.
So I'm just wondering, does 1461S conflict with, any way with 1244S? I'm raising that because I'm trying to figure it out, but I haven't quite got there yet.
It is sort of unyielding, I think, the way it is. You having 2 separate things, and one of the amendments is going to be put in 3 different places in the original bill. Is there any way that we can have OLS
Do we want,
type it up
maybe we want to take a better
the
look
way
at
we
it.
want it, and then go through it?
They can merge it into one. It might just be clear,
It
because
would be easier if they could merge it, so we can
Yeah.
see it.
I can submit that for you. I'll just hand them these 2 and
So I'll withdraw my ought to pass motion and we'll just send this back to OLS.
Okay.
Can we do that, Trevor? Is that okay?
Yep, if you want, either
I
Senator
think
Abbas
that
can have
makes a
Josh
lot
do
of
it.
sense, because it's very confusing to have
Okay.
4 different pieces that needs to go into a bill in different places.
Okay.
So we withdraw whatever motions were made, and we'll have OLS type this up. And then we can go through it and have a side-by-side. And that will make a lot of sense, I think.
All right,
Okay?
withdraw.
The whole, you can do it all.
trying to fix it.
Have executive session?
I'm looking for executive.
I will make a motion to come out of executive session.
I'll second that.
Do I have a second coming out of executive session? Second. All those in favor of getting out of executive session?
Aye.
Aye. And this ends the hearing.
And the whole
Senate Education
day.
Committee.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Adjourn. All those in
Seconded.
favor of adjourning?
Aye.
We have adjourned.
Everybody, it's a wonderful day. It's gorgeous outside.
I know, and I'm inside like all day.
Go meet coworker because our van died and we're junking it, so I have to go.